Hello and welcome to the Knit Girls. This is episode 474. I'm Laura, also known as Lala.
I'm Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les. Today is Friday, February 21st, 2020.
Yesterday was 2/20,
I know.
2020.
I was doing, so when people send in checks for SSK, I used to have to take them to the bank, and now there's a mobile deposit app, which
all the ways to make you not have to leave your house.
Well, it's just depositing checks takes so long, and the clerks still look at me like, "Don't you know it's 2020?" But so after I deposit the mobile,
I use checks all the time.
I make I date it, and I say, okay, it was deposited on this date,
Gotcha.
and so I kept screwing up the date because it was 2/20/2020.
Yep.
I kept screwing it up yesterday.
02202020. Yeah, I had to write receipts for yearbooks and such, so I had to do stuff like that.
My dog is in here. She's not.
Puffy's in here.
She's not gonna bark or anything probably, but I don't know. She just decided she needed to be in here. She's very persuasive in that she'll continue to claw the door. And, interior doors are hollow core. They're not super strong. She will eventually break my door.
So we decided to let her in. Anyway. What are you working on, friend?
I've got a few stitches.
Oh, okay.
To get to before the end. So why don't you go first?
Okay. I'm knitting on two things currently.
It looks like an ice cream sundae or something.
I love it. It's cherry blossom, and she has these. I think she'll be putting them, if she hasn't already put them up for pre-order pretty soon, because she was dyeing them.
Oh, okay.
So this is the Cherry Blossom Festival colorway, Cherry Blossom Day, by Knit Spin Farm. This is on her Targhee Sport Weight, which I love. It's a nice bouncy base. It's a thicker base. I can knit it on size 1s. It's very exciting. I magic loop. And I use Addy Squared. So they're the Sock Rockets Squared. And they've got some texture to them. And I typically knit my toe-up socks using Wendy Johnson's method. It's her toe-up socks with gusset method. And she's got just a spreadsheet of all the different numbers for that. So if you want to customize them during using different weights. It used to have 60 stitches, but I ripped back and put 56 on, because that's what I typically do.
Because you were just finished with the toe increase. So
yeah, I was. I think I was right at this brown line when you all last saw it. So yeah, I've gotten a little bit of progress going on this. I have to get to another brown stripe, like the start of a brown stripe, and then I'll start the gusset increases. Yeah, so I prefer toe-up socks just because they are very simple for me, and this pattern fits well. So it's kind of like my Zen knitting, like going round and round and round, especially when it's self-striping.
Like if you reset Laura to factory defaults,
this is what she gets. For sure, which is funny because I didn't learn how to knit socks till like 2006. And the only reason I learned how to knit socks is Beck already knew. But I learned how to knit socks with toe-up socks. Like, that was the first class that I took in Memphis. And at that point, the socks that I knit had a short row heel. So I'm wearing my way through my socks. In that I'm trying to wear every single pair of socks that I have in my sock drawer.
Equal amount.
We'll just wear them all before the end of the winter. So, like, I'm not trying to go back to other socks unless I really need, like today I'm wearing Uggs, so it doesn't matter what socks I have on, no one can see them. But on days that I'm wearing Mary Jane's, I try to kind of match them with what I'm wearing. But yeah, so I wore a pair of Regia, was the first yarn that I learned how to knit socks on. So I have 6 pairs of Regia socks from the toe up that are a little wonky. But
they'll wear forever.
Yeah, with the short row heel. So it's also good for me to go through and be like, yeah, this is not working for me anymore. I need to gift these to someone else, or I just don't like that. Today I'm wearing Sport Weight Blue Moon Socks That Rock socks. I can't remember the pattern, but they are very warm. It got very weather can't make up its mind this year for us. It'll go from 60 to this morning was 22. all within like 24 hours, and it keeps cycling, and it's happened multiple times this week. So that's probably where this is all coming from.
I was wearing 2 pairs of socks yesterday and the day before. Because my feet, and I typically run warm, but for some reason I just couldn't get.
And you stay in your house.
Like I do, yeah.
When I'm at work, right now actually the air's on at my place of employment, because once you get 60 middle schoolers,
that's true,
in a library, it heats up pretty quickly.
And your whole building is one, you have to either be heat or air. Right?
No, they switched that a couple of years ago.
Okay.
So Leslie went to school in my building, and up until 5 years ago, when they did a multi-million-dollar renovation to the air system, it was still on steam heat from like the 1970s. So there were these big like pipes that ran on the outside of the wall, and hot water would run through them, and that's how it was heated. And there's actually the walls, like the cinder block walls, have holes in them at the upper part,
to let heat distribute.
Heat and air distribute, because there still are no air conditioners in the hallways. It's all like individual air units in the classrooms. But yeah, they changed it, and now like, also, county office can control, like, how low you put it. Like, you can't put it below a certain temperature, and stuff like that.
Because you can't be trusted to make important decisions, like what temperature to put.
I got my lights back under my control the other day. My lights were on, like, a motion sensor, but the motion sensor, one of them had kind of, like, gone bad. So if there was no movement within 5 minutes, like, the lights would all go out. And I don't have any exterior windows in my library. I'm an interior room. So then I'd have to, like, get up and move, or have, like, if I got the kids where they were reading independently at their tables and not really moving, the lights would go off on them. So we got that shut down. And it was to save on electricity. Yeah. So I just make sure that I turn the lights off when I leave. It did take me, like, a day to get used to, I have to turn the lights off again now. So anyway, socks. You guys don't care about my work life. So yeah, this is how I knit socks the majority of the time now. And these are the socks that I wear the most consistently. I have some very fancy, like, Cookie A socks. I do like my monkeys. I wore 2 pairs of monkeys last week by Cookie A. And I do really like those, especially the non-pearl monkeys. So I might need to go back in a couple pairs of that out of, like, non-self-striping. Yeah. Maybe I'll do that.
Like a variegated.
And I want to knit some more Rose City rollers. Knit Picks put their Felici on sale yesterday.
You have so much Felici.
I know, and that's why I didn't order any. I'm trying to do a year of mostly
stash.
Not, like, I'm not saying I can't buy stuff, but I'm hoping that at the end of the year, like, more is leaving than what's coming in. So I know, like, Maryland, I'm probably going to buy a good bit of stuff. So in an effort to kind of, like, front end that, I'm trying to get, like, 6 skeins out per month, like, until May. So that I have, 5 months, like, 30 skeins out of the house.
Well, it's at the very beginning of May.
Yeah. So maybe I can buy 30 skeins. We'll see.
Jesus, you're buying 30 skeins in Maryland?
I don't know. I'm not, like, this year I'm not. Last year when I went to Maryland, I bought 2 sweater quantities. I'm not intending to buy any sweater quantities. But, I don't know. Into the World might have some gorgeous stuff. Loop, actually, I would like to buy another, from Steph of Loop, another sweater quantity from her.
The yin yang?
Yeah, and maybe the worsted, and do, what's that sweater that we were just talking about?
Weekender?
That's more, yeah, maybe that out of that. I think that would be cool.
Yeah.
So I am knitting a sweater too. So what I've been knitting, like, sweater-wise, is also very deep stash. This is at least from, what year did Hank of Yarn go out of business? Like 2012 maybe?
I don't know.
13. This is from a yarn shop that I used to work at.
It was before that, because I moved in 2012.
Oh, it was before that?
Yeah.
So it's been a while, and this has been in the stash. This is Barocco Vintage in a nice red colorway, and I have 8 skeins of this, and I am working on Lillet. I'm trying to see.
Lillet, Lillet.
Yep. This is actually the front.
No, 1T. All of this information is on our show notes, and our show notes are found on our website, which is www.TheKnitGirlls with 3 L's.com.
And for some reason, like, Pearl has hardcore been using this as a pillow. But yeah, so it's got this cool lace and cable collar that you don't have to use a cable needle for. It's just like a 1x1 cross. I think I might repeat that motif on right above the ribbing for the wrists.
Could you do it instead of ribbing?
No, because it would curl under. Like, the ribbing goes into it.
So you're saying, so your arm would be coming down, and then you would do it like, so it would end with this as the cuff.
Yeah.
Okay, alright.
So, like, this section.
I didn't realize the ribbing wasn't part of the lace
like
design.
Yeah.
So they're 2 separate elements.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. And the ribbing has short rows in it up here. This is why I knew this was the back, because it's higher. So yeah, I got through the sleeve, which like the raglan increases for the sleeves. Some changes that I made were I did change the increase rate. I know that this seam from like here to my underarm is like 9 inches, and the pattern called for it to be around almost 10.5. So I shortened that a little bit by increasing on the body of the sweater every row, and then I kept the sleeve increases every other row because the sleeves were going to be wider on me. So my sleeves are a little bit narrower than what the pattern calls for, but only by like 4 stitches.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't worry.
So like 1 inch. No, like I did it intentionally.
Yeah.
Because they were going to be like 16 inches around, and my measurement right here is 13. I didn't feel like I needed 3 inches ease around my upper bicep.
I'm pretty sure my upper arm is 18 inches.
I don't know. We can measure afterwards. And so I'm not alternating skein. It's a commercially dyed, and it's all from the same dye lot. So I'm just rocking and rolling, and now it's just knit stockinette in the round for 18 inches. She actually has it. So hers is shorter. It comes to the top of your jeans.
So it's a little bit
with
cropped.
The ribbing. Yeah, there's a really cropped, and then there's the longer one which comes to the top of the jeans. But I like my sweaters to be a little bit longer unless they're super intentionally cropped. Because I bend over at work a lot to get like books out of the book return, and sometimes books fall off the side of the book return, and when I shelve and stuff, and my children will tell me that crack kills. That's still a thing.
I was going to say, I remember that.
Yeah, so I try to make sure that my booty is covered. So yeah, I'm just going around and around. The green strands that you see are the yarn holders. I use bamboo pops, some leftovers from a long time ago, to just hold my stitches. So yeah, I'm thinking of actually, when I get done with this skein, of just going ahead and knitting the sleeves.
Are you not alternating skeins?
No, I just said that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Because it's a commercially dyed, all the same dye lot. I don't think it looks like.
I mean, to me, no. To me, it's only sometimes when I take a picture, I can see dye lines. I don't see anything. I'm just at this point, I've been burned so many times that.
Well, commercial yarns, I typically don't like. And this is like Baroque vintage, so now on indie dyed I always do. But yeah, I don't see. I'll take a picture later. All the skeins look the same, for sure. They all came from the same bag. Perks of working at a yarn store. But yeah, and that's being knit on size 6 needles, worsted to a gauge of 19 stitches equals 4 inches. And I'm knitting the 48 size, because the gauge it actually calls for is 20, so I'm going to get some extra inches, and it calls for like 2 inches of ease. So that's about what I would get with that leftover stitch per 4 inches, because times 11. So anyway,
It's a lot of math that you just spit out there.
Yeah, so I will have 1 extra stitch per 4 inches. This is 48, so that's 12. So I'll have 12 extra stitches. And I'm getting...
So that's 3 inches.
Yeah, around 3 inches.
A positive ease.
A little less, because it's like 4.75 stitches per inch. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are the 2 things that I am working on right now. And then you get to talk for a long time.
Yeah. I have a lot of random crap to talk about. So the first is about the cat couch. The infamous cat couch. So if you missed last week...
Buffy's like, where's my couch, lady?
This is my cat couch.
There were some cat couch questions.
Were there?
Yeah. I'm trying to think what they were. They were in the YouTube comments.
I'll have to go back and look. My 12, 13 pound old man cat is too fat to sit in it. And he's probably the only one that would. So I'm probably, I think we talked about this last week, but I'll probably donate it to a shelter or something. So maybe they can use it in pictures to encourage adoption because it's cute and it makes cats look cute. So it calls for you to make a granny square mini blanket to go on the back of it. It says it wants you to do 40 squares where each square uses 3 different colors. So for each round of crochet, it's a different color. I made 2 of those and decided that was complete nonsense and I wasn't going to do that.
Because that's a lot of ends. There were some comments that you could tack that down.
Yeah.
And then you wouldn't see the ends.
That's true. But what I did was I crocheted 10 of each color and I crocheted 4 colors. And then, so there's 40 of these little squares.
Did you finish all 40?
Yes, but they're different sizes.
Oh.
Like, look how big this yellow one is compared to, like, the blue one beside it.
Is that, like, a gauge thing?
They're all the same yarn, and they're all the same hook. Like, they're all the same base. They're just different colors.
Yeah, so color can affect gauge, but, like, time of day can also affect your gauge. So if, like, you're crocheting, like, in the morning pre-caffeine, you would get a different gauge than post-caffeine, supposedly.
I don't know how I would make sure.
No.
So I don't know what I'm gonna do at this point.
I don't think it looks terrible that they're. I didn't notice till you pointed it all out. You could block them so that
they're so tiny and it's such a tight gauge. I don't know.
Mhm.
So maybe people who have crocheted like bigger blankets might have a way to sort of trick the eye into making it look like it's all the same size. Because if I can't figure it out, then I will probably be upset and then throw the little squares away and maybe just...
You could do a ripple.
Yeah. I think the granny squares are the cutest, but I'm not willing to drive myself crazy to accomplish it. So that's one thing I've been working on, although not a lot. Another thing that I've been working on is the Rainbow Cardigan.
Oh, yeah.
I am knitting this out of hand spun, mostly mine, but supplemented with Laura's because I ran out and didn't have anything close enough to look like it would work. So it's called Rainbow because the designer used rainbow colors. I'm just using hand spun on the back, and then
just using hand spun.
A hand spun from a fleece for the rest of it, and it's knit sort of modularly. So you knit the back like panel, and then you pick up along the edge, and you do part of the back, and then around the front.
Yeah.
So I've only got a couple rows left for the back panel. So
oh wow!
From here, well, the darker hand spun is the one that I had, and it was a Knit Spin Farm, a couple of different bats that I think were Halloween themed, like Monster Mash kind of thing. And then up here, this is Laura's hand spun, and it was from Creatively Dyed, and it was a C-cell blend.
It blends pretty well.
It does blend pretty well, actually. I mean, it's lighter on the top, but that doesn't bother me at all. Actually, I had to double Laura's. This is 2 separate little cakes that I had to double because mine was chunky and uneven, where Laura's is much more even and thinner. So Laura's default is much thinner than mine.
Yeah, but that's old.
Still.
Yeah.
So I've only got a couple more rows on this to go.
It's exciting.
And then I'll have to read the instructions, but I believe you pick up along the edge and knit a certain number of rows, and then you do short rows at the bottom to sort of give it a flare.
Oh, cool.
So there's that. My husband's doing something with the server. Yeah, my knitting room is the bonus room that's over the top of the garage, and
that's where we record.
It's got access to the attic, which Michael has converted into like a little server room with its own like heat and air control, and it's crazy. Every time we have a cable person here, they're like, I don't know what to do with this. So,
and you just switched internet, so
we did. We switched to C Spire, and I'm more than pleased with it. So I'm also knitting some socks from Knit Spin Farm. This is the Collecting Rocks Day.
I like that one.
I do too, and I'm actually going to start knitting a flap. I'm going to make this a shorty sock.
Ooh.
So I'm going to start knitting a flap right away. I was waiting till I got to this gray to start it. And I'll knit a flap heel and do my regular. Whereas Laura was talking earlier about how her default is a toe up.
Oh, Neelix is in here now.
Yeah, Michael, he came in with Michael.
Neelix is Leslie's other dog.
The much needier dog. Who, I'm not I can't go in the kitchen and give Michael a hug. Neelix's got to be in the middle of that. Like, he has to referee. Hey. Yeah, so this is Neelix.
Hi, Buff.
He's a...
You gonna come up? Come here.
Whippet mix. Whippet Dachshund.
And this is Buffy.
And Duffy is a pit bull mix. They're both rescues. We've had Neelix since he was a puppy. Buffy we got as an adult. The idea was that she was going to be a friend for Neelix when we moved to New Jersey. That wasn't quite what happened, but they're buddies now for the most part.
Yeah. Your brother is just annoying you, huh? Yeah. Is that what he does? Does he annoy you?
Sweetheart, I'm a little bit busy at the moment. Go find Dad.
Anyway.
Go.
So you're knitting on your sock and you're going to do a heel flap.
I am. Laura's default is a toe up, like, wrap and turn. Or...
It's a toe up gusset.
Gusset, okay. Mm-hmm. And mine is a top down flap gusset. That's just what I like the best. It's what fits my foot the best. So there's that.
Mine you don't have to pick up stitches on, which I appreciate.
I would rather... For me, I like the look of decreases better than I like the look of increases. So for me, like, picking up along the flap is not a problem, and the gusset is a decrease, a nice sharp line, and so that's why I like it better. Can you close my door?
Nope.
It's cool. It's not like, whatever. So the last thing that I'm working on is by Suzanne Summer.
At that. I like her stuff a lot.
I do too. I've knit her. She's the one that designed the Shisui shrug. Okay, we're not done apparently. So it's a rectangular wrap, and it's got alternating sections of like garter, 2-color brioche, single color brioche. It's a lot of different textures in this design. And let's see, the total size is 23 inches by 86 inches. So it's a big rectangular wrap. And you do it modularly, so you just do it sort of in sections off of each other.
This is the first time I'm seeing this.
Yeah, I just started it last night. I just felt like doing something different. So I'm knitting this out of... Buffy can stay in here, she's fine.
I think Kobe was just out there too. It's a party in the knitting room today. Oh, I mean, that's what you're.
I only come up here and record once a week, but apparently it's very in demand
tonight
that people be here.
It's a Friday night party.
It is. So these are 2 different colors of Triskelion yarn. This was something that Lady Amy picked up at the Edinburgh Yarn Festival last year. for me, and they're Olwen Fine, so it's a Falkland Merino. It's a lace weight, and it's in the colorway. This is My Foxy Darling, and then the purpley one is Damson.
So does this have brioche to it?
Yeah, the shawl has brioche garter, 2-color and single-color brioche, and it's not an I-cord edging, it's a rolled stockinette edging, so it looks like I-cord. Okay. It's a clever way to get around it.
I love an I-cord edging, though.
I do, too, but it can sometimes, unless you apply it after the fact, it can sometimes inhibit the size, blocking it to size. So I just started it. Sorry. So you can just see.
Yeah, it's more subtle.
There's 3 colors, 3 ridges of one color and 1 ridge of another. I started this while watching Ma on HBO with
I don't know what that is.
Oh my gosh, the actress was in the movie about NASA. The women.
The Katherine Johnson movie?
The one that you talked about a lot. God, what was it called now? But it was about the women who helped do the calculations.
Katherine Johnson is the
God, I can't remember that lady's
historical
name now.
Person.
That's not, but it's an actress.
But you're talking about the actress. Hidden Figures is the name of the book. Hidden Figures, that the movie is based off of.
Ma movie. Sorry, it's going to drive me crazy if I don't look it up.
It's you're watching a horror thing.
It is a horror thing. Octavia Spencer, that's what it is.
There we go. I almost said Olivia, not as her name.
Yeah, so I stopped in the middle of it because I was ready for bed. But yeah.
That's the one with like the teenagers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where she invites them to party at her house.
Pass.
Yeah, it's very. I haven't knit with lace weight in a while, so it's a little awkward, especially just starting out, you know, because right now my needles are heavier than my project, so it's a little like awkward. And I'm using size 6.
Yeah, so am I.
Addy Rocket Squared, honey, you're not gonna fit under the chair.
I'm gonna make an attempt.
So this is what I'm working on right now, and this will be one of the things that I take to Scotland. Because I feel like with it constantly changing, you know, you're doing brioche now, then you're going to do garter. Like, I feel like it'll be a nice...
There's a good travel tip that someone told me, and then someone also posted somewhere about using interchangeables to get through security, because you can untwist them and put them in, like, your pencil case.
Yeah, that is a good tip. I've never flown internationally before, so I don't know. Going out, I don't anticipate problems. Coming back, I don't know. So,
you can ask Amy. She does it enough.
Yeah, and I feel like it probably depends on the airline, depends on the security person, like, but yeah, I probably will move this to like an interchangeable set for getting through security. But... yeah, that's it. So my saga... oh, no, I've got one more thing. So I did swatch. This is Stranded Dye Works, which is our friend Lady Amy. It's her...
yarn company.
Yeah. And I forget the base. It's her, like, merino nylon base. I can't remember what it's called.
I think it's called merino nylon now.
And it's Ice Skating Party.
I like it when people name their bases what they actually are.
I don't mind if people give them fancy names. It doesn't bother me as long as they stick with them. It makes no difference to me.
I like knowing what stuff is.
So I'm going to knit what's called Starboard Rock. It is a Lori Versace pattern, and it's kind of a cross between Joey Locatelli's Boxy and Andrea Mowry's Weekender.
With some different detail at the top.
Yeah, it's got... well, the Weekender has that different detail at the top on the shoulders.
Yeah.
Here, too. So...
but the Weekender's ribbing, right?
Right, and this is more of a staggered rib. But still, it's in general principle, it's kind of like similar, those two. Yeah. And it's knit out of sport weight, but it's 26 stitches to 4 inches. She is trying to get under this chair.
She's trying real hard, too.
It's like the size of a cat that you can get under, and she's like a pit bull. anyway, so I got gauged with a fingering weight, and I just knit this I wasn't going into this with a plan of what I wanted. I just sort of knit it to get a drape that I liked, and this is what I came out with. So, and then Ravelry lets you search
by gauge.
By gauge, you can either do it in centimeters or in inches.
Which is super handy.
Yeah, this is how that's how I came up with that particular choice and pattern. And that will probably also go with me to Scotland, because that's the alternative. That's like the simple, it's from the bottom up in the round, so as soon as you get through the ribbing, it's a year of stockinette, so it'll be good brainless knitting. Laura has finished nothing, and I have finished nothing.
We finished this string art project.
Oh, that's true. So we had a Patreon.
For our fail along for Patreon, we did some string art, and we actually were somewhat successful. And so, I'll let you guess whose is who.
So Laura did a panda corn, and the panda corn came also with the bottom one, the Bee, the magic or something.
Yeah.
And then the other one that looks like kind of like sound waves, sort of.
Yeah, that's Leslie's.
That was mine. Laura's came with an entire book of instructions.
It did.
Mine came with a single page, no actual instructions, just a diagram. And what looked like a bingo
Mine was
card.
also for like ages 12 and up.
I'll put the link to those items in the favorite things section if you're interested. We got them from Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. What about spinning? You've got something, right?
Well, I'm still working on. I haven't plied the Squirrel's Pantry by Inglenook, but I did finish the second bobbin. So I'm spinning this, or I spun this on my Lindrum upright, and so now there's 2 bobbins. It's very fancy.
I like this yarn.
Yeah, so I'm gonna probably do like a sock head out of this.
Is it am I imagining it, or is there a lot more on this bobbin than there is on this bobbin?
I don't know. I mean, I just split it down the even and down the middle and spun end to end. So
I know if you end up with more on one, you'll just do an Andy and ply.
Yep, that is true.
I just wondered. It just looked.
I don't know, and yeah, it does look a little bit thicker on the one.
It could just be that it's more evenly balanced on that one than it is on the other one.
Yeah, that's hard to tell. But yeah, it's a fun little spin. I just need to find time to ply. Leslie was using the area in which I spin to do her spinning, so I just didn't. I usually ply using my Hanson, because it goes a lot faster.
And it distributes evenly, so you can really pack it on.
Because I've got a woolly winder on it. And that's like 5.4 ounces, something like that. So it's a little bit more stuff. And it's an interesting blend. It was a silk blend. 25% silk, 25% Falkland Merino, and then 50% Gray Shetland. So Falkland Merino comes from the Falkland Islands, but the majority of the sheep that are there are actually Merinos. So they've kind of developed their own sort of breed.
So
but
it's kind of like Hog Island.
Merino.
It's based on where they are, not necessarily the specific breed.
Hog Island is called Hog Island because those sheep went completely feral, and their fleece has changed dramatically from the sheep that they originally, from the species that they originally were. Falkland Merino, I think it's just like Merino for the most part. I mean, you just spun. You're working with
I enjoy
Falkland,
so I don't have any objection to it. But I like to think I'm really not a fiber snob. I think most fibers that you can find a good use for, and I like them when they're toothy. I like them when they're fine.
I like spinning more toothier wools than I do.
I like toothy wool.
And silk. Silk's the only thing that I'm like,
Yeah, Laura's not a huge fan of that. Which is, I don't know, I find that so weird because you spin so thin. And silk can go really thin.
Because it's got a super long staple length.
But it's not your favorite to spin, and that's
It's not my favorite to spin, and it's not my favorite, like, because they kill the worms.
Yeah.
So, like, animal cruelty-wise, it's one of the few that they actually kill specifically to get the fiber.
Yes. Although to be fair, it is an insect. I mean, I don't know.
And there are like
ethical,
ethical versions available as well.
I don't know. I'm certainly not an expert in the ethics of silkworms, so please don't take my ignorant opinion as fact.
Well, most of the silk we use for like hand spinning is actually like leftovers from the garment industry, so there you go.
I do have some spinning.
Yeah, you spun a ton in my house.
Well, it was 6 ounces. I don't remember the dyer.
You spun it on the Starling.
I did. I spun it on the Starling because they came out with a new soft start stop pedal. So Starling is a dataless wheel. Dataless is a company.
I was looking to see if it was up here, but it's not.
No, it's downstairs. Because I wound off of it. The Dataless is a company where it's one person. I forget I want to say it's Chris, but I could be very wrong about that. But it's the husband of the dyer of Spotted U.
Yes.
EWE fibers.
And the wheels are made in the U.S.
They're mostly 3D printed. Yeah. But he is incredibly knowledgeable about the inner workings of motors and the gears, and he can answer basically any question you got about the mechanics of the wheels. And so
he has several wheels, and the Starling, you have the Starling XL, which is the bigger version of the Starling.
And that was their first wheel that they put out, and then it was the Blackbird, which was an Irish tension wheel, which they no longer make.
Yeah.
But now they have the Magpie, which does both Scotch and Irish tension.
Which is super cool.
Yeah. So,
and it has like an art yarn flyer that you can get for it that's huge. It's like 10 ounces.
But one of the, I wouldn't say major problem, but like complaint that people have had with the Starling is that the pedal to turn it on and off was an instant start or stop, which is great for starting. But for stopping, when you're plying and you do an instant stop, your flyer still has some backspin in it, and so it would instantly stop, but your bobbin would still be, or your flyer would still be turning for a second or two, so you get a yard or two of backspin, and you'd have to fix it every time. Minor complaint, not a huge deal, but annoying. Whereas those with a Hanson will know that it's got a soft stop start, so you push the pedal, and over the course of like
2 seconds,
a second or two, it builds up to the speed that you last had it on.
And vice versa when you turn it off.
So it's a slow stop start. Slow being relative, but it's not instant. It slows itself down gradually. So it's something they've been working on.
And that's what a wheel, like a treadle wheel, would do naturally.
Exactly. Yeah. So it mimics what a treadle wheel would do. So they came out with a soft stop start pedal. And they sent me one to try out on the Starling, because that was one of the things I mentioned like a year ago when we were playing with the Starling. And it's really cool, actually, because not only is it a soft start, I'm going to say this wrong every time, a soft stop/start wheel, you can configure the time, how long it takes to start and how long it takes to stop, down to like the 10th of a second.
Very personalized.
Yeah. And you can you can set what speed it starts at, and it's got a display of the RPMs or whatever that you're using.
Which is really nice.
Yeah,
because it allows you to go back to that point.
Right. So if you're applying, you can constantly be at whatever that number is.
And as bobbins fill, they're
usually have to adjust the tension and stuff like that. So it's really cool. I don't know if they sell it separate from their devices, like from their wheels. I'll find out, but
I think it only works with their wheels, though.
Yeah, but I don't know if you can buy it separate if you have like an original Starling.
Yeah, you have to contact them to make sure that it's compatible, but you can. The same with the Blackbird too. If you have a Blackbird, you might be able to get one. It just depends on how far down the production you were.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, it was a little confusing to get it connected because you actually have to disconnect the motor of the spinning wheel. It's not, you don't need any tools or anything. It's like a little plug. And then you plug it into this other thing. But
if Leslie can do it, 90% of human beings can probably do it. Not to say that disparagingly, but
there were no pictures or anything. It was just a text explanation.
Yeah.
So, it was pretty easy to follow. I didn't really go out and look for like a video or anything. There might be a video of how it works. I just was based off of the email they sent me. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it so far. I love how much you can customize it. I actually had it changed so that it would start faster than it stopped, because when I hit that button, I'm ready to go. But when I hit the button to stop it, I need it to do it slowly. So anyway,
it's pretty. How many yards?
I don't know, because I got this new skein winder thing, which I will show you guys, but I used it for the first time winding this, and it was a catastrophe. Like, the arms were like folding up and everything was coming apart, and I was so annoyed. And so I sent the guy an email, and I was like, this is what's happening, and I sent him some pictures, and then he replied back, and he's like, it's upside down.
Oh.
So yeah, so that was totally my fault.
Oh.
So I only just used it before Laura got here to wind everything on. I didn't even have time to count the rounds, because I was just trying to get it. It was a huge mess. The skein was a huge mess.
Did Kobe help you straighten it out?
He did not.
Oh.
But I had that squirrel cage Swift,
yeah.
So I just stretched it out on that and then wound it onto.
Is that downstairs?
It is.
Oh.
So yeah, I just spun it thick. Intentionally, just because I wanted to play with the pedal. I wasn't trying to do anything magnificent with the fiber, but I'm happy with it.
I like it.
It needs to be washed because it hasn't been washed yet, but
yeah.
There's sections where it's like super thin and sections where it's like crazy chunky. So
yeah, I think that's anytime I spin chunky, I have those sections for sure.
Yeah, so books. Why don't you talk?
Okay, I'm still reading the Cole McGinnis mystery series. I had to take a break because some of the things that are said to the main characters are not kind and use slurs and other things. This is kind of like a trigger warning for that series. So I had to kind of take a break and take a step back. Mm-hmm. And so I still have 2 to finish. But then I read Heart Song by T.J. Klune last night, which I've been getting a lot of reading in because I'm under the weather and I don't feel like doing anything else. So I really enjoyed that book. It's the 3rd
Green Creek.
Yeah, in the Green Creek series. If you like the Anne Bishop series, I think that this is kind of, you'll like this as well, in that I feel like the tone and mood is kind of similar.
And they don't romanticize being like this book is a shifter book. Yeah, it's about werewolves
and witches.
Yeah, that's true. And they don't romanticize it. Like, no. It's more of just a fact of life that they have to figure a way out to live with, you know?
Yeah. But I really like the way T.J. Klune writes. I like the word choice that he does with this, like the way he writes his sentence structure, especially when they're in their woof form. Mm-hmm. And it uses italics when they're in the woof form. I really, really like that sentence structure that he uses there. Because I've been modeling with kids, like looking at how authors write and stuff, so that's kind of on my brain. But I really, really like those 2 elements of his writing a lot. This is the 3rd out of 4, and it does kind of leave you on a cliffhanger. And the next book doesn't come out until August. So that's sad, but August will be here soon enough.
Yeah, that's...
And he's got another book coming out in March in a different series, I believe.
What series?
I don't know. I'll have to look it up.
Oh.
I pre-ordered it, back in
Yeah, because I read all of his series. So.
Okay, I'll look in a
T.J. Klune is primarily male.
This one has an asexual male character. As one of the love interests, which... It's interesting.
He has an asexual character in How to Be a Normal Person.
Yeah. I think he is asexual, actually. I think he's been open about that. But yeah, it's really, I love the way he writes. So, I enjoy it. Both those series are adult book series. I know I talk a lot about kids' books. For kids' books, I'm reading a graphic novel called Stargazing, but I'm not super far in. and it's good so far, but it's also in the book fair, which is why I'm reading it. But now that the book fair's at work, I try to read 15 minutes a day at work, but I haven't been super successful in the last couple weeks. I need to take that quadrant 2 time. That's what my boss calls, like, your recharge time is your quadrant 2 time at work. And he's a big fan of, like, getting in, like, even 10 minutes to yourself to kind of recharge and reinvigorate yourself during the workday. It's a lot more important than people
give it credit for.
Yeah, so I need to make sure. This morning I kind of got that, and I used it to work on yearbook instead of recharge. So, because I'm in charge of yearbook at my school. So yeah, it's been a busy year, I feel like. But yeah. And my kids got some people bought some books off the Amazon wish list, and it's a lot of manga, and they're like they got like someone bought One Piece and then Sailor Moon and Witch Hat Atelier, that someone who watches the podcast recommends, and then the JoJo books, and they are like the JoJo books I've gotten out, but the paperbacks I really have to cover,
right,
with like the sticky. It's kind of like that stuff that you put on the screen of your cell phone, and like you cannot mess it. Like if you mess it up, it's like game over. So it really takes more focus and concentration. I can't do it at the same time as doing something else. And so I got the barcodes. I put it in the system. I entered the books into the system. I got the barcodes printed. I got the spawn labels printed. And now I just have to get the sticky stuff on and the date due put in there, and it's stamped with like property of Horn Lake Middle School.
So they're chomping at the bit for you to get it out.
They're like, I need you to tell me the second. And I'm like, well, they're in the system now. You can put them on hold, and so like there's already like a 30 kid wait for each book. They're so funny. But they are super into manga this year. It's been a couple of years since I've had a crew. And then my 6th grade I have one class that's super into like the Bad Guys series, which is kind of a silly little like cartoony type series too. Which they just love, and I'm so happy they found something.
Yeah.
Like I had a kid come up to me and was like, I have not liked a single book that I've read the last 4 years, but I really like this series, and he's reading them, and it just makes me so happy. Good. Anyway. But yeah, so I need to read more, because they're also adding to my to read stack. They'll like bring it back and they're like, you have to read this one next too, which is really sweet. But now I have a stack like this on my desk at work, and they're just keep adding to it. That's the Barbara D book, Maybe He Just Likes You. The girl who read that was like, you have to read this next. So I really gotta make time to read. But it's hard, especially when you're moving slower because you're not feeling well. So shelving of books takes more time and stuff like that. Anyway.
Well, for me, I've been reading... I just finished Sin and Spirit last night, which is male-female... Paranormal.
It's like a future... San Fran?
Yeah, San Francisco, and like each major city is controlled by a demigod, but there are people with different kinds of magics in the area, and there's like a rating system of level 1 to 5 based on power level and all that.
It kind of reminds me of Steelheart. Did you ever read that?
I did, yeah. So this, that one was the 4th in the series, and the 5th comes out in July, which is a long time. But I like the series.
The one just came out in December, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 4th one just came out. So I liked that one. I am listening to, I'm almost finished with The Witches Are Coming. This is a sort of political feminist book by Lindy West, and she is the same person who wrote Shrill, which became a series on Hulu.
I think the 2nd season's about to come out, if it didn't just come out.
I'm not sure.
Or maybe they announced a release date. I don't know.
I have learned, well, I've learned a lot listening to the book, but I have learned that she is actually married to the brother of the woman who wrote So You Want to Talk About Race.
Oh.
His name is Adememe It's an O is his last name. Starts with an O that I can't remember. But anyway, it's not super important. It's just an interesting tidbit.
Yeah.
But it's a really good, like, feminist, get angry kind of book, because that's what she talks about. That's why it's The Witches Are Coming. Like, you keep politicizing everything that we're doing, and calling us, hysterical and witches, and it's a witch hunt and all this. And she's finally, her message is, fine, if that's the way you want to be, then okay, we'll be witches, but there's a lot of just information scattered through there as well. So I like the way that she writes. I'm listening to it, and she narrates it herself, which is also helpful.
Sounds like it's a good book for reflection.
Mm-hmm. Also, Samantha Irby, who wrote Meaty, she has a new book coming out as well. It's like a book of essays, and I want to say it's like No Thank You or something like that, but it looks good as well, so I'm excited about that. I do sometimes listen to nonfiction. It's not frequent, but if I do, it's usually semi-political or feminist in nature. But I think that's mostly it. I've got several, like, samples that I'm reading through right now to see if anything piques my interest, but I read the sample for Mr. Penumber's 24-Hour Bookstore, which was a recommendation from Ashley, and I actually really like it, so I think I'm going to buy it.
Okay.
It's
should see if the library has it. I think they do have that one.
Oh, okay, I will.
Because that's been around for a bit.
Yeah, it's
pretty popular lit, so I bet you they do.
Okay, well, I'll check that out. Although I have to go to the library and, like,
renew
my online thing, because you have to do it every year or 2 years.
Yeah.
So
they want to see your face in person.
Yeah, which is understandable. It's not a huge thing. Just I don't get out that way very often, so
you can do it at any branch.
Yeah, but the closest one to me is where?
So there's one right there in Olive Branch, at the end of church. And then there's one in South Haven, right there off of, not Airways. It's a little bit over from Airways, State Line Road. And then there's the one in Horn Lake, and there's the one in
State Line
Hernando.
one is by the City Hall. Anyway, y'all don't care about this. So.
When you go to get your absentee ballot, you could go to the library in Hernando's right there at the courthouse.
I don't do absentee ballots. Do I have to? Are we going to be out of?
Yeah,
country?
We're going to be out of country in Democratic primaries.
So I need to do that then.
Or the primary general is.
Okay. What else are we talking about? What we're wearing. So I'm wearing Rolling Rock, which is a Thea Coleman pattern. I knit this out of one of the SSK Goodie Bag yarns. Hazelnuts. I think it was Hematite was the colorway, or Alexandrite, one of the two of those. And it called for a sport. I knitted it in a DK, which was really too heavy for it, but whatever. And I added
looks cute.
thumb holes in it as well. I had no idea how to do it, so I just sort of knit ribbing back and forth for an inch or two, and then joined it again.
That makes total sense.
The back has a lace pattern on it.
I like that sweater a lot.
I do too. I actually might knit it again at some point, because it's simple. It's got a little bit of a V-neck, but it's not super deep, and you can add buttons too if you want.
It's got a little bit of a pattern, so you're not super bored.
Right. So that's what I'm wearing, and you're wearing...
I'm wearing my What the Fade shawl by Andrea Mowry. It's got 3 different colors. I wear this a lot. It's probably in, like, my top 4 most worn shawls, because it is quite large. I do want to knit a full-size fade at one point, because I want to use it kind of as a jacket.
So this is a 3-color one, not the 5-color one?
This is the 3-color one. And so the yarns that I used are, this is Republic of Wool, this green one. And then, this one is Tempting You. That I got at Maryland a couple years ago. And then this one was Skein, out of Australia, and then I changed it a little bit, and in the Pico bind off I added beads, so they're kind of hard to see.
Oh, I forgot that you did that.
Yeah, it gives it a nice little bit of weight.
Yeah.
Although I've almost stepped on the beads like 15 times today, so, because, you know, you take it off and put it back on, and take it off and put it back on. But, it's a good, like, fix that. It gets worn a lot, so it's wearing pretty well, but, it's just a good little, like, instead of a jacket, something around the neck to keep you warm, but is big enough to stay, like, out of the way, as well. So yeah, I liked it. I think I knit this when I was on a trip. This was travel knitting, so it was good travel knitting. Lots and lots of garter with some lace to break it up and fading. But yeah, I think that's about it for me. Is there anything else that we have to talk about?
Patreon.
Oh yeah, we do.
A virtual knit night for our Patreon members. It's this Sunday, so it'll be like, this will go up and it'll be like the next day. At 2 p.m. Central Time. You should have already got an email about it. We've got events coming up, like our
Clothing Conservation Month, where I can mend that little rip that's in this that I just saw.
And then we have Stash Dash, which is our summer sort of stash down or finish things goal. And then we have a Halloween craft all the things as well.
Yep.
So
that's about it.
I believe so. All the stuff that we talked about again will be in our show notes, which is on our website at TheKnitGirlls with 3 L's.com.
Yep.
If you have any questions, feel free to comment on the episode in YouTube or on Ravelries. We have an episode thread. And otherwise, we hope you guys have a great weekend. We'll talk to you again soon.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.